What if the woman in your life has been quietly starving not for food, not for gifts, not even for more time together, but for something so specific, so deeply woven into who she is, that she has never once been able to name it out loud? And what if the moment you learn to recognize that hunger, without her having to say a single word, everything between you changed forever? Hello and welcome. I want you to take a breath right now, because what you are about to hear is not something most men ever get to understand. Inside every woman, no matter how strong she appears, no matter how composed or independent their lives, a quiet, persistent hunger. An emotional and physical ache she has carried, sometimes for years, without ever fully describing it to anyone. Not to her closest friends. Not to the men she has loved. And certainly not to you. What you are about to learn changed everything for the man who finally understood it. So please stay with me until the very end, because the most powerful insight comes last, and it might be the one that changes everything. Let's begin by going somewhere most men have never been invited: deep inside the emotional world of a woman. Insight number 1, she is always noticing what you don't say. Picture this. She walks into the room after a long, exhausting day. Her shoulders are slightly lower than usual. There is something quiet about her eyes. She says, "I'm fine." And you, like most men, believe her completely. But here is what she is actually doing in that moment. She is testing the air between you. She is sensing whether you are truly present or just physically there. Women are wired deeply, biologically wired to read emotional environments the way a musician reads a room. She picks up on tone, on energy, on the quality of your attention. And when you miss the signal she is sending without words, she does not get angry. She gets lonely. The hunger here is not for you to fix anything. It is simply to be seen. Let that sink in for a moment. She wants to know that you notice her, not just when she is laughing, not just when she looks beautiful, but when she is carrying something heavy and trying not to show it. The man who says, "Hey, come here, you seem like you're carrying something today," wins more of her heart in that one sentence than 100 grand gestures ever could. Insight number 2, she craves emotional safety. More than romance, we live in a world that sells women flowers and candlelit dinners as the ultimate romantic ideal. And yes, those things are beautiful, but they are the surface. Underneath, what a woman truly hungers for is something quieter and far more rare, a place where she feels completely safe to be herself. Pause for a moment and think about this. How often do the people we love most see only the curated version of us? The version that is pulled together, appropriate, and easy to be around? A woman carries so many layers: her softness, her doubts, her wildness, her fears, and she keeps most of them locked away because the world has rarely welcomed all of them at once. When you create a space where she does not have to perform, where she can say something irrational and not be mocked, where she can cry without explanation, where she can be uncertain without being judged, she will feel something she may never have felt before. She will feel home. And a woman who has found that emotional home in you will love you in ways that will genuinely astonish you. Insight number 3. Her body speaks a language she needs you to learn. This is not about physical intimacy in the way you might first think. It goes much deeper. A woman's body holds her emotions like a vessel. When she is stressed, she carries it in her shoulders. When she is unsettled, she cannot sleep. When she feels disconnected from you, she feels it physically, a kind of hollow restlessness that sits in her chest. She hungers for physical presence that communicates care, not urgency. A hand placed gently on her back when she looks overwhelmed. Sitting close enough that your arm touches hers while you watch something together. Reaching for her hand not because it is a prelude to something, but simply because you wanted to hold it. These small, deliberate acts of physical tenderness speak directly to the part of her that has been quietly starving. They say, "I am here, I notice you, I am not going anywhere." And in a world where women are so often touched with expectation rather than with pure warmth, that kind of presence feels like water in a desert. Insight number 4, she needs to see that she matters to your mind. Here is something beautiful and overlooked. Women are deeply moved when they realize they are living in your thoughts when you are apart. Not in an obsessive way, in a tender, specific way. When you remember something small she mentioned 3 weeks ago. When you send her an article about something she is passionate about. when you reference a dream she told you she had. This is the hunger for mental presence, and it is one of the most quietly devastating needs that goes unmet in relationships. Many men are physically loyal, financially responsible, and genuinely caring, and yet their women still feel invisible. Because presence is not just about being in the same room. It is about carrying someone with you, even when they are not there. The takeaway here is simple and extraordinary. Let her know she lives in your mind. Do it specifically. Do it unexpectedly, and watch what opens in her. Insight number 5, she wants to feel like your deepest choice. There is a hunger in women that almost never gets spoken about directly, and it is this: she wants to feel chosen. Not settled for... Not the relationship that made the most logical sense. Wants to feel like you looked at the whole world and you reach for her. This hunger does not go away when the relationship becomes comfortable. If anything, it deepens. Because comfort can slide into assumption, and assumption is the slow erosion of a woman's confidence in your love. You feed this hunger not with grand declarations, though those are lovely, but with the quiet, repeated acts of choosing her. Putting down your phone when she walks into the room. Prioritizing her when it costs you something. Looking at her like she is still the most interesting person you have ever met. Because if she feels chosen, she does not just love you, she becomes devoted to you in a way that is rare and real and irreplaceable. Insight number 6, she longs to be understood without having to explain herself. Let me share something that will stay with you. A woman who has had to constantly explain herself, her feelings, her needs, her reactions eventually stops trying. She goes quiet. Not because she no longer cares, but because she is exhausted by the distance between who she is and who feels understood. The deepest hunger of all is this: to be known, not analyzed, not solved, not managed, known. Seen clearly, accepted fully, and loved without conditions. When you offer that, when you sit with her complexity without needing to simplify it, when you allow her to be contradictory and human and still hold her with the same warmth, something remarkable happens. She stops feeling alone. And a woman who no longer feels alone in her relationship will give you a depth of intimacy and partnership that most men spend their entire lives searching for. Here's what I want you to truly feel right now. She has been carrying this hunger quietly, gracefully, and mostly in silence, because the world rarely taught her she was allowed to ask for all of it. But somewhere beneath that composure, beneath the independence and the strength, there is a part of her that is still waiting. Waiting for the one person who sees her completely, who reaches for the parts of her she thought were too much or not enough. If you can be that person, even imperfectly, even just a little more than before, she will love you in a way you have never been loved. The greatest gift you can give the woman in your life is not a thing, it is the feeling of being fully seen, deeply understood, and quietly cherished. That is the hunger. And now you know how to feed it. If something in this video opened something in you, I would love to know. Drop a comment below and tell me which insight hit you the hardest. And if this felt like something worth sharing, please like this video and subscribe, because there is so much more coming that I think will change the way you love and the way you are loved in return. Remember this: the man who truly sees a woman never has to wonder if she loves him. She shows him every single day.